Friends, it's Good Friday. Our reading is John chapter 19, verse 30. The touch point or stage of grief is the upward turn. In our cycles of grief, we sometimes go through what is called an upward turn. This is the journey out of depression or guilt or anger or denial. It is the journey towards acceptance. Those grieving for Jesus may have reached this touch point when they remembered all that he had taught them and promised over the years, especially his promises that he would come back and be with us always. The upward swing is when there is faith that perhaps there really is something that comes after death and loss, that perhaps there can be a different but still meaningful relationship with the person. For some people, that different but still meaningful relationship will be a warm and joyful feeling when remembering, rather than a cold and broken feeling. For some people, that different but still meaningful relationship is a spiritual one, a felt connection to their loved one in the afterlife. There are no parameters or limits on what form that different but still meaningful relationship can take. But on the upward swing, we gain confidence that there will indeed be something on the other side. After anticipation, after shock, after guilt, after anger, after depression, Jesus would have entered the upward swing himself. He also would have remembered promises made to him by Abba, God, through prophecies, prayers, and direct words from heaven. And he would have begun to feel the presence of God again after that agonizing moment of being forsaken. He would have looked back upon his life, his many memories, and felt satisfaction at what he had accomplished and warmth at that many moments of love and joy and beauty. He would have felt confidence in his legacy, especially in the ability of his disciples to carry on the work of kingdom building and world transformation. When people go through their own dying process, especially if it is a gradual or drawn-out process, they also cycle through these stages of grief, as Jesus did on the cross. Perhaps you have been present with someone as they made their journey from life to death. If so, perhaps you have noticed upward swings when your loved one is able to breathe more easily and smile a bit more, as their faith in something new and beautiful grows, and as their confidence in you and other loved ones' ability to keep living and doing great things strengthens. I am convinced that Jesus had an upward swing while upright on that cross. He had a moment when he held his head high, looked out upon the world he had changed, and realized that he had done well, that his disciples would do well, and that he could trust God's promise for what would come next. And so he said, Tetelestai, it is finished. Amen. For today's spiritual practice, I encourage you to do a tenebrae ritual. Tenebrae is the Latin word for shadows, and it refers to a religious ritual of gradually turning off lights or extinguishing candles to increase the depth of shadow or darkness in the space. As you extinguish each light, reflect on one of Jesus' last words. If you want to get super traditional about it, after you have extinguished all the lights, you can hit a hard surface with your hands or an object like a drum roll to simulate the noise of the earthquake that struck at Jesus' crucifixion. If you do this part, make a loud clap at the end to signify that it is finished. And as you meditate, sing these lines from Taizé. Ubi caritas et amor, ubi caritas Deus ibi est, ubi caritas et amor, ubi caritas Deus ibi est.